for those of you watching on the recording here. First of all, towards having a consistent practice. So as I was saying, well, it's great for bringing you back down after your meditation, so you can use it for that. And just thought I'd play this a little bit. Stress you might be experiencing. My computer keeps telling me that it has an unstable internet connection, which is always wonderful to hear as you're getting ready to go live. So give me one moment here while I try to coming through. Actually, let's do it this way. I'm considering or cautious that this thing might be kicking people off. I want to, let's see what I can do. I disconnect that. We're gonna go for a ride, so hang on. Don't get seasick on me. Oh, isn't that a trippy ride? Maybe you look like you're going up into the stars or something. All right. So you're going for a ride here. You're taking the stuff with us. We're going to go to a better internet connection. I'm here at our yoga studio, and in this office is where our internet connection is. And when I tested it earlier, it said my internet connection was fine in here. So hopefully it will let me do everything here. All right, one moment, I'll be right back. I will keep talking to you. You should be able to hear me. I'll grab my things that I need. I'm right back here. Excited with the technology. I love it. Because you're going live now, Lance, and you're trying to do something, and the universe is challenging you. And I've learned recently that you just kind of go with the flow. And I'm going to do one more thing to give myself a better boost. All right. I think I'm good. All right. Yes, this is the meditation for staying calm with technology problems class. Surrender. George Costanza's father. Serenity now. All right. Well, welcome once again. So, 10-day meditation challenge. How do you meditate through technology problems? it would help if you guys actually heard me. Just realized I didn't have my microphone turned on. Lovely. So all of that was just, okay, well, weak internet technology or internet connection in the other room. So we moved to the office. So here we are. Oh, Lord, what a day. So welcome to the, the meditation 10-day challenge. My plan was to just kind of go over what we are needing to, all right, I hear you. Good, excellent, good. So my plan is that kind of go over the idea for this challenge, and then to answer questions. I have a couple written down, and then any other questions that anybody might chime in with. This may be a brief 10-15 minutes if nobody else chimes in with any questions, or I'll make it a full hour if we have a little bit of a dialogue. So started out with me having conversations with people and realizing that everyone around me was challenged with not being able to have a consistent practice, whether it was a yoga practice or a meditation practice or any kind of daily practice. And last year, during the middle of the pandemic, when things kind of got really hectic, I needed something for myself. And so I started cobbling together a practice, but I was unable to keep it consistent even for myself. So that caused me to kind of start really digging in, trying to figure out how do I create a daily practice that I can stick with, that modifies and adapts to when life kind of gets hectic and goes sideways. And luckily, eventually, through some trial and error, I created something that I was able to stick with and have a consistent practice for a minimum of 6 months without missing a single day. So after that success, I started feeling, well, obviously the benefits of doing the practice every day. But also realizing that after the 6 months, in fact, it happened after around about the 3rd month, give or take, going into the 4th month, is when I actually felt there was like I was drawn to the practice. Like I didn't want to miss the practice. It wasn't for the fact of just breaking the streak. It was like I really needed the practice in my life. And so my goal is to help people get over that hump through this 10-day challenge. So the idea being, there's two goals that I want for everybody to have on this challenge. The first is that you have an experience of having a beneficial meditative experience, like using this practice, the specific practice we're going to use, which I call vocal vibration. You basically use vibration, your vocal cords, to create vibration in your throat, in the back of your throat, in the back of your mouth, up in your sinus cavity. And so by doing that, you actually can create physiological changes in your body, which calms down your mood and lowers your heart rate, reduces anxiety. It just totally, completely calms you down. In fact, I just did that practice before we came on. It's a good thing we did too, with all the technology problems. It really grounds you, or it calms everything down, I should say. If you do it for a really long time, then you start to go back up and you start feeling a little loopy. But anyway, so my goal is for everyone to have that kind of experience where they realize, okay, I can do a practice where I can feel an immediate benefit. That's the first thing. And the second thing is I want people to realize that their practice needs to be and can be flexible. It doesn't need to be like a 30-minute thing that you have to fit in, otherwise you just don't do it. So the goal is for us to practice this idea of consistency and showing up for yourself, whether that is you showed up for 30 seconds or you showed up for a 5-minute practice. And hopefully through this challenge, you sort of whittle together these small or medium practices, however long you're able to do them, and start realizing like, oh, okay, I can do this. Because the most common thing I hear when I start talking about this idea, in fact, I just talked with someone a couple hours ago, and they're like, oh yeah, I would do that, but I've got this, or I've got this issue, or I've got that issue. And their particular issue, which is a common one, is I've got a young child. I can't do that. I've got a young child. And so I think the problem is that we all have this ideal of what we think this practice needs to be. It needs to be butterflies and rainbows and pixie dust and everything feeling feeling like, it's the perfect thing instead of just doing something. So instead of, if you have this ideal for a 30-minute yoga practice and yet the kids just keep coming and interrupting you and stuff, can you just sit there on the mat and deep breathe for 30 seconds, right? Uninterrupted. Can you find a way to do that? And that's the idea behind this 10-day challenge, is to find ways to just commit to showing up for any amount of time that you can, and start stringing those together, and see how much you can do by allowing yourself to be much more flexible. So that's the whole goal for this challenge. And as I mentioned, the practice that I'm recommending people try is what I call vocal vibration. This is something I've been teaching to my students in my meditation classes for the last, about 7 months, maybe 8 months, something like that. It's a direct result of me doing my practice and realizing the benefits that I was experiencing. My specific meditation practice that I use oftentimes is mantra. I like to use spoken word from different lineages as the base of my meditation practice. And what I learned as a part of using that was the fact of me using my voice, not even the words I was saying, but just the fact of me using my voice was really, really beneficial. And I started realizing that, and then I started sharing that in this class, and everyone I was sharing it with started having the same benefit. Like, they would see an immediate shift in their mood in like 5 minutes worth of doing this. And you can experience it in shorter times, but sometimes that very first time you try it, you're kind of questioning a lot, and so it takes you a little bit longer to get into the real depths of actually experiencing the benefits. So that's the actual practice. That was one of the questions that came up, was like, well, what meditation we're going to be using. You're free to use any meditation you want to. You are welcome to do anything. I'm just providing a framework here. You can use this, like I said earlier, is that you could use this to create a consistent yoga practice, a consistent prayer practice, any kind of practice you want to do, a consistent new diet, anything. If you want to go out, you can use the same framework to do that. So I'm just sharing with you a framework here rather than an actual specific thing. Now, I do recommend you try the meditation practice that I'm offering, because it does offer you an immediate reward. Like, there's an immediate benefit you can actually feel and experience. And so it gives you that reward and encourages you to come back the next day to do it again. Whereas some other types of meditation things, it kind of takes, it's a sort of longer runway, and it can take you a little longer to feel like you're actually getting some benefit out of that practice. So that's the reason that I recommend that. But everything that I share, everything that I teach, it's always an invitation. It's an invitation to experience this or to not. Take as much or as little as you're liking, because I truly believe that we need to seems to work for them, and so I thought I would share it with a wider audience. So take as much or as little as this works for you, and try to put together a practice. So one of the other questions is, what is the best time to practice? So I'll say that there's a lot of different schools of thought on this, saying you should meditate in the morning. Some hardcore yogis will say you have to meditate in the early morning hours before the sun rises. There are benefits to that. I'm not downplaying those benefits. There are absolute benefits to that. In fact, that's one of my goals for this next several months, is to get my practice back to being an early morning practice rather than just when I wake up. But for this 10-day challenge, and when you're first getting any kind of practice started, the best time is the time you're going to do it. So it's really up to you on when you're going to do that practice. Personally, I do enjoy doing my practice first thing in the morning, because it provides me a good foundation to sort of level out my thoughts and emotions and everything for the day. I just feel like I get a better day because I get that practice in first thing in the morning. But if you have kids that are going crazy and you just cannot get up early enough to get around that, then maybe you squeeze it in a lunch hour. Maybe you do it in the evening because they're doing other things, or maybe you do it in the car in between something. Let's park, and you do it for 3 minutes in your car at a park, or in the parking lot before you walk into the job, or who knows, whatever it works. again, this is, I really, really want to encourage you to do as much as you can. So part of that is you do want to try and create a quiet space, right? You do want to try and create some kind of space for yourself. That can look a lot of different ways. It doesn't have to be, a designated, do it in a car, do it, outside behind your house in the backyard or wherever. You don't have, it doesn't have to be a quiet space. Like you could go do it in a public park and just do it there. It's fine. It's, I guess is a good way to put it. Another big one I want to throw up here is, that sounded terrible. I don't want to throw up. There is I want to challenge you to change that language, because when we're saying, I don't have time for something, I'm a victim of the circumstance, I don't have time for this. When the real truth that, yes, there could be various circumstances coming up, but we have power to make decisions based on the circumstances that are presented to us, okay? So when you take ownership of this, of your decision, basically, to whether you put a priority on any given element of your life that you want to put energy towards or not, when you take ownership of that, you're basically taking back your power, and you're saying, it's my decision whether or not I add this into my life, if I give this a priority. And so the language that I want to encourage you to do is forget the I don't have time for, and replace with I have decided not to make right now, to change that decision. Like any given time, you may decide that, you know what, I do want to make this a priority in my life. I'm going to change that priority. And let me illustrate something right now that's going to show you why this is so. If you are really, really busy one day and you thought there was no possible way there was ever all day long, there's no way you can do anything. And all of a sudden you find out go to the hospital. That is a higher priority than anything else that was on your agenda for the day. And so that simple illustration shows you that it's your decision what you are putting priorities on. Now you could say, you know what, that person's in the hospital, but you know what, I still have to go to the job. Then at that point, your job is taking a higher priority of the person who's in the hospital. I'm not making a judgment on that decision. I'm simply illustrating that it's our decision what we're placing priorities on in our life. And so when you decide that, okay, this meditation practice or this yoga practice or this whatever practice needs to be a priority, then we'll make room for it. And something else will get shifted. Seconds to 5 minutes each day, it's a lot easier to make that priority switch, instead of saying, well, I've got to find a way to carve out 30 minutes, or I've got to find a way to carve out an hour. Just do it really short, really small. And that's really, really helpful. It depends on the children. It depends on your household. It depends on a lot. One possibility is get up earlier than you know they will get up if there's a lot of time. I understand that can be challenging. So think about when do they go to bed, right? More than likely, probably they go to bed earlier than you, I would imagine. So you could fit it in, 3 to 5 minutes before you lay your head down for the night. You could do it while you're taking a shower. Like, do you have 3 to 5 minutes to yourself to take a shower while someone else is caring for them, or maybe they're doing something else? Like, I guarantee if you look at your life, there is a way that you're going to find 3 to 5 minutes that you can say, oh, look, there it is. That's the 3 to 5 minutes. Like if we were sit down together, I guarantee we could walk through your life and find that 3 to 5 minutes, wherever it is, or just 30 seconds. If you're at the stage where you're just like, I can't imagine doing 3 to 5 minutes, 30 seconds. That's all I suggest then. Just do 30 seconds of deep breathing for 10 days in a row to prove to yourself that you can show up for yourself and honor yourself enough to do that. Because if you're still saying I can't do that, then there's a barrier there. There's a belief system. There's a limiting belief that we have to overcome. It's not a time constraint issue. This is a self-talk in your head that's causing you to think. Next one, there was a question about what time is the check-in calls, PM Central Time, just to kind of jump on and answer any questions that have come up. And if there's no questions or anything, I'll just sort of, you know, check in and say, give you a little bit of a cheerleader, hoorah, go team evening. You don't remember. There was something else I was going to say about the time, but I guess not. So that's when we're doing that. It's going to be here on YouTube again. And then, oh, and so if you're unable to make the live calls, you can log in to the members area, and you can discuss there as well. There's an area for leaving comments there, so you can do that. So for you in the chat, so that you have that as well. Let me get to those. Where does that stuff go? Let me find it on my computer. Sorry, I had this already earlier. Let me see where it went. Where'd it go? There's the registration link, simpledailymeditation.com. So you can go to that link and register, and then that'll get you access to that members area and all the recorded videos. And I also have there's like 6 videos in there right now going through in depth a lot of the stuff I've kind of covered, but going in depth about the actual practice itself that I'm recommending you try. And so that's where that can be found. So that's where you would register. Once you're registered, if you've already registered and you're watching this and you're kind of questioning, well, how am I supposed to get back to that member? Here is the sign in. So there's the sign in for that one. And this, I hadn't had a question about it, but I'm sure it's going to come up, so I want to address it now. And that is, in many of the videos, I'm using the term as I'm closing, and I'm sure the question is going to be, what does that mean? What is that term? If you're familiar with Namaste, it's kind of similar to that, as used like a greeting, but it comes from a different lineage. So Namaste is of the Sanskrit language. Satnam is language. It's kind of an offshoot of Sanskrit, and it's called Gurmukhi. And this comes from the Kundalini and Sat truth, or I am divine truth. Basically, it's used as a greeting between people, and it's used to basically, the way I like to look at it is reaffirming our own divineness. And so that's what that is. So I often use that in the videos. So I just wanted to throw that out there so that people understand what that is all about. And that kind of wraps up all of the questions that I had up to this point. And so if there's anybody that has questions, go ahead and feel free to put them in. And otherwise, I'll just wrap things up early and wish you all a good day. And say, oh, you know what I want to do? Because we didn't hear it before, I want to play that. This is a Smoky Quartz singing bowl, and it's great for grounding. Smoky Quartz is a very earthy, grounding energy to it. And so I use this at the end of my little area above your head here, from all the stuff that you're doing. This is a great way to point, which I did not bring up in the video, so I'm glad I just thought about it. When you do this vocal vibration practice, you will feel, sometimes you could describe it euphoric, giddy, kind of up in the clouds. Some people might even call it like a high. And so when you do that, you want to make sure that you ground yourself again, so that you don't just do that and then jump in the car and then start 5 minutes or more. It's a possibility. Just wanted to offer that as some insight and something to be aware of. So I thought I would just play this for us. I don't know if you'll be able to hear this or not. I'm hoping you can. I'm going to move the mic a little bit down, a little lower, so maybe direct it towards the bowl. You probably won't hear me now, but that's okay. camera here for you. If you're listening, you can decide if you want to maybe close your eyes for a moment and take some nice deep breaths. Wash away anything that doesn't serve you. So as we wrap up here, I want to leave you with a thought, just a reminder that you can do this practice. You can do a practice. It's just about reframing your thoughts of the limiting self-talk about I can't do this, I can't do that, because we think it has to look a certain way. I'm asking you to redefine what your practice can be in order to serve you and to serve your current unique challenges that are in order to navigate those challenges. And so I'm here to support that journey and to encourage you to find the solutions that are going to work for you. And so my goal here is to see if we can get you to do 10 days in a row of something. If you can't make all 10, no big deal. Still honor yourself, still celebrate. There's a video in the members area all about the 9 principles of making this really work for you. And one of those is about celebrating the little micro victories. The victory of just showing up one day and sitting on the edge of your bed and breathing deeply for 30 seconds before you go and take care of the kids or run off to work or anything else. Just making that commitment, that 30-second commitment, can do wonders for you. It really can. Asat Nam, thank you so much for joining us. And I hope you do amazing things on this challenge. And either you can comment here on the video later, or you can go in the members area or send me an email. You can do that. Any of those will work. All right. Have a great afternoon. Asat Nam.